Welcome back, everybody, to episode 8 of the CG Sports Podcast. Today, what we're going to be doing is our first weekly news episode. Basically, what this is going to be, we're going to be going over some NBA and NFL news. And then for this episode exclusively, we're going to answer some of you guys' sports questions that you guys sent to me. And then we're going to finish off with a review of last week's games. And yeah, I'm not going to waste any of your time. Let's get right into it. Starting off with our first NFL headline, John Ross, as of today, requested a trade from the Bengals. And personally, I don't think this trade is going to happen. I mean, as a lot of you have seen, or probably haven't seen, John Ross has not played since week 1 because he got hurt. And I mean, he claims in an interview that he wants a fresh start, which, don't get me wrong, is completely understandable. But I feel like the team he's playing on is the perfect fit for him. He's playing on a team with a good amount of young talent. I mean, you look at guys like Joe Mixon, who's still young, Tyler Boyd, William Jackson, tons of young guys on this team, and they're the future. I mean, look at their quarterback, Joe Burrow. This is a guy who's looking like he's going to win Rookie of the Year and could be a future superstar QB in this league. And I just don't think with all his injuries that the Bengals are going to be able to make a good enough trade to get something worth out of his value. So I don't think the trade's going to happen. I think if he does stay in Cincinnati, which I think he should, I think he has the potential to be one of the best deep threats in the league. I mean, look at the dude's speed, man. This is a guy who holds the record for the fastest 40-yard dash in combine history. I mean, you can sit here and try and say guys like Tyreek Hill or Mecole Hardman or Marquise Goodwin are quicker than him, but without a doubt, this is a top 5 fastest guy in the league. And with that kind of speed, it puts a target on your head, and it just brings a presence onto the field that opens up the offense for everybody else. You see it all the time with guys like Tyreek Hill, Marquise Goodwin when he was still playing. You see it from even Mecole Hardman. All these guys who are really fast, they open up the offense for everyone else because they have such a presence on the field where you have to know where they are at all times. And I think John Ross can be that guy in Cincinnati, but he's got to, I feel like he's kind of rushing himself. I think he should try and take maybe a full season off, if not 3/4 of a season off, to make sure he's fully recovered and back at full strength before he comes back. And I think if he does that, he can develop and be that guy for Cincinnati, and if not, that guy for another team. We'll see. It all depends on what Cincinnati decides to do with this. All right, so the next story we got is about Panthers running back Christian McCaffrey. As most of you saw, in week 1, he got an injury. I believe it was in his knee. And his injury seemed really severe, and it looked like it was going to be season-ending. But we're getting reports today that he could be returning as soon as week 8, which, if you don't know, this Sunday will be week 7. So the next Sunday, he could be back, which I think is crazy. I thought he was going to be out till at least, if he was even going to return, I thought it was going to be between weeks 12 and 17. But we're getting told that they said his recovery went great. And it went way better than expected. And as I said, he could be returning as soon as week 8. And I think for the Panthers, this is going to be huge. I mean, this is a team that's already proven to be pretty solid without him. I mean, Teddy Bridgewater and Robbie Anderson have kind of been putting the team on their back. And I think bringing CMC back could be the push they need to get into the playoffs and snag a wild card spot. Our next story is going to be about Tua Tagovailoa, the Dolphins' backup quarterback as of right now. He was drafted in the first round by them last year with, I believe, either the 3rd or 4th pick. And they're planning to start him week 8 directly after their bye week. Now, I think this is a very risky call here. The Dolphins have been somewhat successful with Ryan Fitzpatrick running their offense. I don't think this is the time to bring him in. If you look at who they're playing the Rams week 8. And Rams are a really good defense, man. I mean, they got Aaron Donald, who's probably the best pass rusher in this league. I mean, I would say probably. He is the best pass rusher in this league. Jalen Ramsey at corner, who's easily a top 3 corner in this entire league. The only guys you can really put over him is really Marlon Humphrey or Stephon Gilmore. But, I mean, if I'm the Dolphins, I'm going to wait. I don't think this is the time to bring him back. I'd want to play him up against an easier defense where he can ease into the starting job and kind of get a feel. The best time, I think, would probably be week 11. They're playing the Broncos. Broncos have a ton of injuries on the defensive end. It'll be an easier game, and they could ease him in more rather than throwing him straight into a tough situation with Los Angeles. I don't think that is the move for the Dolphins. Overall, though, I think it'll be pretty exciting to see what Tua brings week 8, and if he lives up to the hype. And today, of course, is October 20th, so we just got a couple birthday shout-outs for our NFL players. I want to give a shout-out Jeremy Hill, a guy who was a member of that Big Three in Cincinnati with Andy Dalton and A.J. Green, Super Bowl champion in 2019 with New England. The man turned 28 years old today. Happy birthday to him. Another birthday shout-out to Jamie Collins, of course, a great linebacker, now playing for the Detroit Lions, but also a Super Bowl champion with New England. That man turned 31 years old today, so happy birthday to him as well. We're going to move straight into the NBA headlines, though. Not too much this week as we're just getting into the offseason, but we're kind of at that point where all the rumors are going to start coming out of who's signing where. Of course, the biggest names are really Giannis and Anthony Davis, but there's also some other guys like Brandon Ingram and some other lower-tier guys, but we're around that point where we're going to be seeing a lot of rumors of where guys are going to go. So it should be interesting. And we've heard from Anthony Davis, who's arguably the second biggest free agent this year. And he says he plans to re-sign with the Lakers. I mean, not much to say about this. I think it's a great move. He won a chip last year, and I think he's going to have continued success with LeBron. I think they're going to be able to bring in some more talent this offseason. I mean, I've heard Paul George wants to come. They're even trying to bring in Giannis, which I don't know how those contracts are going to work. But I expect the Lakers to bring in some more talent for LeBron and AD. Our next story, the Pacers hired former Raptors assistant head coach Nate Bjorkgren. I think I butchered that name, but former Raptors assistant coach, worked with Nick Nurse, and he's going to be the next head coach of the Pacers. Nate, for any of you who don't know, was a very successful G League coach, and he was pretty good with the Raptors. I mean, he won a championship there. He even won a G League championship in 2011, so this is a very winning coach at both levels. So I think he's going to bring some new energy to Indiana, new game plan, and I feel like this guy in specific, from what I've seen from his G League team and obviously work with the Raptors, I think he's really going to be able to embrace Indiana's star players. Of course, you know, guys like Malcolm Brogdon, Victor Oladipo, and Miles Turner. I feel like he's really going to make the most out of them. And that's all we've got for NBA headlines this week. I'm hoping as the offseason goes on, we'll get some more information on trade rumors and stuff like that, injury reports for guys like KD, stuff like that. But for now, that's all we got. Another birthday shout-out, this time for an NBA legend, Eddie Jones. This guy is, of course, known for his time with the Hornets and the Heat. 3-time All-Star, All-Rookie First Team, 3-time All-Defensive Second Team, steals leader in 2000, just all around one of the greatest 3-and-D players we have seen in this league. So shout out to Eddie Jones. He turned 49 today. And yeah. So our next segment today is going to be the Q&A. I took all you guys' questions, and I'm going to be answering them today. Starting off with our first question is going to be, how is Le'Veon Bell signing with the Chiefs going to affect Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Now, for you guys who don't know, at the start of this year, Damian Williams, who was the hero of the Chiefs in their 2019 Super Bowl victory, their running back, he was out for the season right off the start. I believe he had knee surgery, and he had to rest this entire season. So week one, we really didn't know how they were going to look in the run game, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who is a rookie, just came in, and he's been playing extremely well. And so this particular person wants to know how Le'Veon Bell signing with the Chiefs is going to affect his play and just, the team in general. And my answer to that is I think his stats are obviously going to decrease, but I think they'll still be very efficient just because Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Le'Veon Bell, they're both very versatile backs, guys you can run down the middle. You could also give them a pitch or an outside handoff or a catch out of the backfield, and they can make the most of it. So I think these two are going to be very versatile. I'd look for the Chiefs to definitely run more two running back sets because they now have both of these guys. And I think they'll use them very well together. I mean, I think these two dudes are going to gel fine. Le'Veon, of course, a known vet and a known skilled back in this league. Of course, he was in a bad situation with the Jets, but I think he'll be able to pass his knowledge on to Clyde Edwards-Helaire and maybe help his future get a little bit better. Well, yeah, that's all I got for that question. Next question we got is, what does Dak Prescott's injury mean for his future with the Cowboys and his contract situation? So for all of you that don't know, this offseason was supposed to be when Dak got his big contract. He was set to get it last season, but they kind of held off and just basically franchise tagged him to wait for this offseason. And if you guys didn't see, Against the Giants, he had a gruesome leg injury, out for the season pretty much indefinitely at this point. And so what everyone wants to know is, how is this going to affect his future with the Cowboys and his contract? So the way I see this injury is really going to hurt the Cowboys. I mean, Andy Dalton, he's not the greatest quarterback as we've seen from his last couple years in Cincinnati, but he's going to have to take over. But that's not what we're worried about. We're talking about Dak. So what does this mean for his future with the Cowboys? Now, personally, I think they have faith in Dak Prescott. I mean, look at what they did. Jason Garrett has been their coach forever. They drop him. We got Mike McCarthy now. Now, if you watch from what Jason Garrett did, for example, with Tony Romo, there was a span of 3 to 4 years where Tony Romo was getting hurt every year, and he did not give up on him. Now, we'll have to see where Mike McCarthy's approach is, because he could just give up on Dak right then and there, or he can get a second shot. The way I see it, Dak is going to get a contract this offseason. It's not going to be the big one he was hoping for, but he will get re-signed. And if he decides not to take that contract, that's on him. But I think he should be happy to even get a contract after missing basically a whole half of a season with an injury that looks like you can't even play football ever again. So I do think he'll get a contract. He's not going to get a big one like we planned, but I think he will get a contract. And I think next season, Dak Prescott, whenever he returns, they're going to try him out. If he comes back the same, he'll have to work out his contract. He could probably get it redone. And if he comes back and he's not the same, I think the Cowboys are probably going to have to tank and draft for a new Q. So it's all going to depend on how he comes back next season. So it's a little too early to speak on that just yet. We got to see how his recovery process goes and everything too. So that's all I got for that one. Next question we got is, who is going to the Super Bowl as of right now? So this is as of the end of week 6. Personally, I'm down to 2 teams for each conference. So for the NFC, I really think it's going to be close between the Seahawks and the Buccaneers. And for the AFC, I think we're between the Chiefs and the Bills. Those are my 4 teams. If I had to narrow it down right now, if I'm thinking about NFC Championship games between Seattle and Tampa Bay, I don't see Brady losing. I mean, he's a winning quarterback. He got knocked in the wild card last year to a one-man team. I think he's going to come out looking for revenge. He's going to want to get back, prove he still got it. I think he's going to take down Russell Wilson in an NFC Championship game. As of right now, I think Tom Brady's going to take down Russell Wilson in the NFC Championship game. That team's defense is so well built, the same with their offense. And Seattle, don't get me wrong, is a greatly built team too. But I think that the Buccaneers' high-powered offense, the Seahawks are not going to have an answer for it. Don't get me wrong, their defense is great. I just think Tom Brady is not going to let Russell Wilson beat him out. That's just me. So for the NFC, give me the Buccaneers. And for the AFC, it's just another Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes battle. As I said from last week's prediction episode, the Bills' pass defense has really not been the best. We saw it in their game on Monday night. And I think they'll have continued struggles if they do make it that far. So Bills, Josh Allen, hell of a season. Definitely in the MVP running. But I think Mahomes is going to get the best of him again. And the Chiefs are going to go to the Super Bowl. So who is going to the Super Bowl as of right now? I got the Chiefs and the Buccaneers. Next question we have, how many more years does LeBron have left? Now, this is a very interesting question because LeBron is 36 as of right now. And if you look at guys like Michael Jordan, he retired around the age of, I believe he retired at 40, but he did take a bunch of years off. He just came back for a year or two. Kobe retired around the age of 37, 38. Tim Duncan around the same. Listen, I know a lot of people think Bron doesn't have too many years yet, but what I think people lack understanding of is that LeBron James has not slowed down since the day he came into this league. If anything, he's gotten better. I have not seen any kind of decline from LeBron's game since he came into the league. So how many years does LeBron have left? It'll all come down to his durability. He's proven to be the most durable player we've ever seen. Maybe you can give it to Robert Parrish because he played like 8 seasons in a row and never missed a game, but you get the point. LeBron, if I had to put out a number, he's 36. I think he could play until 41, 42. So I give him 5 more years. I know he wants to play with his son. His son will be in the league in about 3 years. I think he can play 5 to 6 more years in this league, unless he gets some serious injury or a hard decline, which I don't see happening anytime soon. Next question we got is, where will Giannis sign in free agency? This one I would love to answer for you, but I really can't. I know his top 2 teams right now are the Mavericks and the Lakers. I just don't see the Lakers happening because of just contract issues. There'd be way too much money to pay everybody, and they'd be in a bad situation. Same thing with the Mavericks, really. They have a lot of big contracts. Tim Hardaway's got a big contract. Porzingis and Luka both getting paid. So I think both of those teams, although he says they're his top options, I really just don't see them happening. Miami Heat is still an option because all their young guys are on their rookie contracts. And I think there's a lot of sleeper teams that have a shot at getting him. I couldn't really name one off the top of my head, but like one of the teams that isn't really a big name for him. And I feel like any like low like caliber team could just run in and scoop him up, give him the best contract, and he'd be there. So I feel like it's kind of hard to call, but if I had to give a team right now, I'd say the Miami Heat are the best, have the best odds to sign Giannis this free agency. Next question we got is, what should the Jets do to come back stronger next year? Now, the Jets are currently 0-6. Yeah, 0-6. And this person wants to know what they can do to come back stronger next year. So the first step has to be firing Adam Gase and firing basically all your coaching staff. You need to fire your offensive coordinator, your defensive coordinator, and your head coach. And your owner or general manager, whoever's controlling that, needs to hire guys that know what they're doing. And you got to play to Sam Darnold's strengths. You got to play, I think they'd honestly be better off in a 4-3 defense. And, I mean, you just got to play to your players' play style. I mean, it's like playing Cam Newton the way you would with Tom Brady. You have to change your whole game plan based on your surrounding players. So I think the Jets, I couldn't really give anything too particular, but I think they need a pass-heavy offense. And when it comes to their defense, they need a 4-3. So pick up some guys who can do that. And, I mean, I would stick with Sam Darnold for now. If you're going into the draft, I think your best odds is probably to draft either a linebacker or a young wide receiver, personally. But, I mean, we'll see what they do. But those are the things I think they need to do the most to come back stronger next year. Next question we got is, why have so many players in the NFL been getting injured? I mean, it's a tough question. You see a lot of teams like the Eagles and the Niners and the Broncos who just got super injured this year, just out of nowhere. And you saw a lot of star players, Saquon Barkley, Christian McCaffrey, and a ton of other guys. I can go on, but a ton of big names get hurt. And everyone's asking, I mean, why did this happen? And the only reason I could really give you is the lack of preseason. I mean, I feel like people underestimate the importance of preseason football. I mean, it's difficult to go from off season and not playing to just all out, full football. So I think the preseason is really helpful for them. Obviously, week 1, they only play the first quarter, sometimes even the first couple drives. Week 2, they'll play the first half. Week 3, the first 3 quarters. And week 4, they'll usually play another 3 quarters of the full game. I feel like it's really important for the players to ease themselves in to coming back to the game. And I feel like the lack of preseason football and overall training camp is what really got a lot of these guys hurt this year. I think they weren't able to ease into the game and kind of get warmed up for the season. They were just kind of thrown into it. So I think that's the main reason that these guys got hurt. Next question we got, who's going to the NBA Finals next season? This is a really tough question to call right now because we got a lot of teams that are banking on their offseason. For example, the Brooklyn Nets are banking on the fact that Kyrie and KD are going to come back at full strength. The Mavericks, Lakers, Heat, all banking on the fact that Giannis comes to their team. Raptors banking on the fact that Fred VanVleet resigns. He's a big part of their team, so he could be the difference. Warriors hoping that Steph Curry and Klay Thompson can come back at full strength from their injuries and play to their full potential. There's a lot of teams banking on different circumstances. So for right now, it's kind of hard to call but I'm just going to throw two teams out there. So I think NBA Finals next season, give me the Lakers. I think the Lakers, this is a bold call here. I think the Lakers are going to sign Fred VanVleet. I think it'd be a huge pickup for them. So I think the Lakers take it from the West. And for the East, give me the Brooklyn Nets. I think KD is going to come back at full strength and absolutely dominate. And our final question is, who's going to win every division in the NFL this year? This is tough to call because there's a lot of divisions that are really close, but I'm just going to go with it and give you what I got. So starting off, AFC North, give me the Baltimore Ravens. Steelers have also looked good. They're undefeated right now, and the Ravens, of course, have one loss. But the Steelers really haven't played a good football team yet, so until they prove that they are good enough to beat a solid football team, give me the Baltimore Ravens taking the AFC North. For the AFC South, give me the Titans here. Colts, obviously only one win behind them, and Phillip Rivers has not looked bad this season, but I don't think any team in this league has an answer for Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, Jonnu Smith, Ryan Tannehill, all those guys. I don't think any team has an answer for all those dudes. So give me the Titans to win the AFC South. AFC East, we're going to take the Buffalo Bills. As I already said, I think the Bills are going to make the AFC Championship. Josh Allen playing at MVP level. Stephon Diggs, of course, has also looked great. And their defense has looked pretty solid besides their pass defense, which has been pretty average. The only team that's even in the vicinity of taking this division is the Dolphins, and I don't think they stand a chance at beating out the Bills. All right, and moving on to the AFC West, the final division in the AFC. Give me the Chiefs for this one. The Raiders are the only team even somewhat close, and they actually did upset the Chiefs, and that was a pretty big upset, but I just don't see a way that the Raiders are going to win more games than the Chiefs in the next 11 weeks. Yeah, it's just not going to happen, straight up. So Chiefs going to take out the AFC West, and we'll see how far they go with that. Moving on to the NFC, starting with the NFC North, I think this one's going to be really close between the Packers and the Bears, but I think Rodgers is going to once again take that division title. I mean, don't get me wrong, the Bears have looked great. Ty Montgomery has been pretty good. Jimmy Graham and Nick Foles have looked on the money, but I just don't think that Aaron Rodgers is going to give up this division. The Bears' defenses look great, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to step it up in the second half of the season and take over this division. Next up, we got the NFC South. For this, I'm going to take the Buccaneers. Honestly, they're easily the most high-powered team in the division, and of course, they currently lead the division. I think they could realistically win every game for the rest of the season. I just don't see a way that the Saints, Falcons, or Panthers take this division from them. I mean, they have Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Ronald Jones, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, just the most stacked team I've seen in a very long time. I just don't see a way any other team takes this division from them. Next up, we've got the NFC East. So for the NFC East, I'm going to take the Dallas Cowboys. Even though they really had a rough first game without Dak Prescott, I think that Andy Dalton is going to have enough firepower to win 7 to 9 games. I mean, you look, he's got guys like Ezekiel Elliott, Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup. Still got some good firepower on that team, and I think he's going to be able to, as I said, win 7 to 9 games, which should be enough to win the division. Finally, the final division is the NFC West. I have the Seahawks winning this one. They're currently undefeated, and they don't look like they're going to be losing anytime soon. Russell Wilson is playing at MVP level, and Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf look like one of the best wide receiver duos in the league. The only one I really put over them is Chris Godwin and Mike Evans, but still, they've all played amazing. So, finally, to end off this week's episode, we're going to do a quick review of last week. We went 9-5 on last week's picks, so I'm just going to go over a couple games. So starting off, we're going to talk about the Lions win over the Jags. Of course, I picked the Jags on this one. DeAndre Swift, Lions running back, had himself a day, 2 touchdowns. So did Matt Stafford, throwing for almost 300 passing yards. An amazing day for him. Gardner Minshew, I really thought he was going to play well. He did not show up today. None of his receivers, DJ Chark, Keenan Cole, nobody showed up for them today. And their defense just got annihilated, which I really did not expect either. Next game we're going to talk about the Broncos win over the Patriots. Of course, I picked the Patriots to beat the Broncos. For one, the Broncos are still super injured on defense and offense. They brought back Drew Lock, but I still didn't think it was going to be enough. Broncos won off of 6 field goals. No exaggeration. They kicked 6 field goals this game and made them all. Cam Newton had a terrible game, threw 2 picks, got sacked 4 times. Just a horrendous game on his part. I didn't think a team as injured as the Broncos was going to be able to beat out the Patriots, but thanks to Mr. Brandon McManus, the kicker, they did. Next game, we're going to talk about the Bucs, who beat out the Packers last week. Aaron Rodgers did not come to play. I really thought this game was going to be a shootout, but Aaron Rodgers threw 2 picks and had under a 50 completion percentage. I can't remember the last time I saw him throw under 50% for his completion percentage, but he did on Sunday. On the other hand, Tom Brady, I already expected him to have a good day, threw for 2 touchdowns, and Ronald Jones, surprisingly, he got in another 2 touchdowns, and Gronk made a absolutely disgusting catch in the corner of the end zone. That was a thing of beauty. Packers, overall, were just off their game on both sides of the ball, and that's the simple reason why they lost. Finally, we're going to talk about the Niners win over the Los Angeles Rams. The Rams played as I expected. They played well, but the Niners just simply played better. Jimmy G played out of his mind, threw for 3 touchdowns. George Kittle grabbed 100 receiving yards and a touchdown. Raheem Mostert, although he only had 65 yards, the impact of those yards, he was getting a lot of first downs on those big drives, getting those big gains to move the chains and continue drives, and those 3 guys carried the Niners to their win over the Rams. That's going to be it for today's episode. Watch for tomorrow's episode at 9 p.m. where I'm going to be giving you guys my Week 7 predictions. Thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace.